Alright everybody, this is AW trying out to do a little drive video of the countryside here where I live, just to show you how beautiful these places are. This is one of the places that I visit every once in a while. Can't visit every time, every day, it's too far away, but I really enjoy coming here, and so does my dog. It's a nice little very small valley here. It's pretty cozy. Today was actually a really beautiful day, but it's also very chilly. Very chilly. So it talks about something somewhat on topic. Many of you who are just purely philosophically minded have probably not heard of some guy named Murray Bookchin. But if you're a leftist, Marxist, you still probably haven't heard of Murray Bookchin, because Murray Bookchin is sort of just a meme on a very small fringe of the left, which is between semi-anarchist and semi-Marxist. Anyways, Bookchin's claim to fame is two things. One of them is claiming to be a post-Marxist that is making a sort of return to Hegel to make Marx more faithful to his logic. Although he claims to be a naturalist, which is supposed to be the dialectical sublation of idealism and materialism, which just clearly shows you that Bookchin doesn't know what the hell idealism or materialism means. And he's also mainly famous for having a theory of politics. I forget what it's called, honestly, I don't care. Which is more, decentralized, like minarchist confederacy, something like that. Don't take my word on it. I'm not claiming to know very much about Bookchin, but I don't care. The one that I really care about is simply the claim that, he has superseded Marx, sublated Marx and Hegel, by having a new dialectical naturalism, as he likes to call it. And of course, if I hear somebody claim that they're going to do a better job than these two, I want to find out. So I gave Bookchin a little read. His naturalism mainly focuses on ecology, and so Bookchin, if you look into anything Bookchin, he claims to have a dialectical ecology. And so, being that I understand a bit of dialectic, I wanted to find out, hey, how does he do it? Because I hadn't thought about anything originally dialectical for myself at the time, that's for sure, and so I wanted to see, if anybody had done it, how did they do it? So anyways, I looked at Bookchin. I read two things. Actually, at the same time, I had found out that somebody had posted around my introduction to dialectics on some subreddit about, Bookchin's ideas, and the head mod of that Reddit emailed me actually and said, by the way, what do you think about Bookchin's dialectical ecology? He's like, I'd like to know your opinions on it. And I said, oh, you know what, sure. Give me something to read. And so they sent me an essay, because I told them I wasn't going to read a fucking book just to find out. I don't have that kind of time to waste. So they sent me an essay about, Bookchin's introduction to his own dialectical ecology or dialectical naturalism. And it's a 25-page essay. Half of it is rather worthless, like the first 12 pages are just Bookchin shitting on the people. And by the way, that's pretty much every book and anything written by Bookchin. Half of the stuff of any work is just him shitting on other people about how they're wrong. Maybe you like that style, but I certainly don't. It's a waste of my time, and I think it's a waste of anyone's time who's trying to read and learn something new. So, I skipped through that 20 pages. Damn birds. And I can say that on that first essay, I was actually pleasantly surprised, because what Bookchin said was straight up the kind of things that I had come to understand about dialectics. To a certain degree, as a matter of fact, he said certain things that I hadn't noticed very many people, except for certain Hegelians, actually mention it too. And so it seemed to me, wow, there actually seems to be some promise to Bookchin. He seems to know what's up. But of course, things are never fully what they seem. And so I looked into reading another book by Bookchin. Well, not another book, but a book by Bookchin, which is Dialectical Ecology. And I perused through the first 100 pages of that. I read the first 20, and then I realized, holy shit, there's nothing here, because most of it was just Bookchin shitting on other people. And so I wondered where in the world was the dialectics of his dialectical ecology. So, I perused around, skipped through the pages, trying to find some theory of a dialectical ecology, and I didn't find it. Nowhere was it present in an entire book called Dialectical Ecology and related essays. So, call it this disappointment. Another one was I read another essay that also was titled Introduction to Dialectical Ecology, or Dialectical Naturalism, I forget which one. It was much longer than the first one. And reading through that, I also found out that after you go, through the about 30 pages long piece of crap, nowhere is there a dialectics of anything. It's just Bookchin rambling about stuff, ecological stuff or whatnot, but still it wasn't dialectical. And so actually, when I read that, and I had before I had read the second one, but I read the first, and I wrote back to that person. I said, look, it seems to me that Bookchin seems to have some idea of dialectics, but when I look through his other essays, it's not clear what. And hold on, let me adjust this camera maybe so you can see. Oh my god, is this thing being out of focus this entire time? Color me surprise. Technology. Don't worry, I'll be looking a bit better on the way back. I didn't realize that the autofocus was just not... I forgot to put on the autofocus. Sorry, people. But anyways, so... in reading Bookchin, I just had this fanciful idea of, what would a dialectical ecology look like? And that got me thinking on one of my first projects of trying to generate a dialectic for myself rather than just going off what Hegel says, which is what most people do. Most people talk about dialectics from Hegel. Just go by what Hegel is saying, and they don't come up with anything new. They use Hegel's dialectics, but you never see them come up with a new dialectic. It's actually pretty easy, just to make it clear. It's actually very easy to come up with dialectics as contradictions. Those are super, super easy. They're really, really easy to get done. Because even though, every time, somebody asks me, come up with one right now off the top of my head, no, I can't. But whenever I'm reading stuff or watching stuff, they just come to me in spades, in droves. So, they're very easy. It's much harder to get a developmental dialectic going. But once you have a sense of how Hegel does it, and you get to practice, it's actually not too bad. Not too bad at all. So, it becomes increasingly easy to just have that. So anyways, I have a working thing that I've been going back and forth over the last, and that was about 2 years ago now. Where I just, every once in a while go back to that and elaborate a little bit here, and elaborate, maybe a paragraph every couple of months. But it's not really my deep interest. But anyways, I went back to that last week and looked at what I had said, and I said, I can definitely expand on this a lot more now. I have the tools for it, cognitive tools. And what I needed to do was just kind of get the ecological background so that I could actually, well, have the materials to look at, and so I can say, okay, this fits here and that fits there, and just do it. As always, there's places to go, but I can't go to them. Sorry about that. The camera keeps defocusing. It's very annoying because the same things are not in focus. The autofocus is very strange. Well, it's not very strange. It's a tracking autofocus, and it's annoying. It's good for the most part, but if you're like constantly shifting, you want to have a set focus, and I'm just too lazy, too lazy to set on manual. Mainly because the auto is the only one that has the stabilizing software procedure, so I'm stuck with that here. But anyways, check this landscape out. It's beautiful. I mean, this is such a beautiful place to come and have a stroll, just for the sake of it. Just for the sake of it. Block some of the sunlight so it doesn't bother the camera too much. We'll see how that does. So anyways, I was working on that a couple days ago. The basic stuff is that the way you deal with a developmental dialectic is you have to deal with it in a systematic way that things are arranged. So if you're going to deal with an ecological dialectic, you have to keep in mind the elements of an ecology, which is obviously going to be biological elements, living elements, as well as non-biological elements. That's already included in life, but ecology has it on a grander scale. And and there's a simple way in which ecology is simply the general life at the level of species in a more universal sense, whereas the genus is normally just for one species. We're talking about the entire genus of life, which would be here sort of functioning under the name of ecosystem, which the ecosystem is the unity of soil, unity of the climate, unity of plant life, unity of microbial life, unity of herbivores, carnivores, fungi, all these other things. And each species and each type of species is there in the environment to carry out a life function for the total environment. So it's about having the whole system put together and showing how each element of the system develops another element, and so on and so on. And it's very fun to do. Actually, ecology is probably one of the easiest things to do that with, more so than anything else. Simply because ecology is already openly systematic. You don't have to really be pondering like, oh, how does this relate to that? Ecologists are already thinking about things as these organic wholes and parts, and so most of the work is already done for you. All you got to do is just sort of like put it back together and talk a bit more about the intelligible relations, more so than anything. So yeah, pretty neat. You know, I'm trying to get more into the practice of just, you know, talking more spontaneously with these videos. But let me tell you, it's not that easy. Usually, if people ask me questions, I can just start bringing things up like willy-nilly, no problem. But if you know there's no question posed, and I'm not really facing another person, my mind just kind of blanks out, even though I'm a walking encyclopedia most of the time. I mean, I have something written about just about anything. Look at this. Driving somewhat slow, it's not because I really care about, you know, running over anybody. It's rather because this camera, for whatever reason, has trouble stabilizing images when you're going around curves like this. For whatever reason, that last time that I tried to do this, it really screwed with the camera. And it would just like be jittery, and it just made for bad video. That's why I didn't post my last video that I tried to do about driving around hills like this. The turns were beautiful, and the most beautiful part, but at every turn this thing's just going crazy. Sun is right in our face now, so apologies. Can save you a little bit of trouble there. Only a little bit. Truck. Now, people around here are pretty nice. Every once in a while that I've come here, some of them say hi, and that's like ask me if I lived around here, and obviously I wish I did. Actually, it'd be nice. I mean, it's nice where I'm at right now. Not where I'm living, but literally around the corner from where I'm living, though. It's pretty nice. But I would much prefer to be out here, you know, have a home out here. Because if I had a home out here, I could actually walk around these hills, you know, without people looking at me like I'm some thief, trespasser. See you around.